ni ceceni ya Inoro TV. Ni mamwe mamari atukuhaririye Inoro thaa ithatu. IEBC neshoreire igoti bisha kwendire ya mitabo ya giteretwo tigirira githurano kiari na waragania. Akiria William Ruto nimerete igoti ati amaditagi ni maremetwo kuonania reform 34A yathogirwo. Twareda igoti rinyiterero hotani wake IEBC ekiuga aria matwarite shira igoti-ini mareka mathafu uria gutagirire. Gavana Kang'ata gwathana aruti a wira ruhonge-ini rwa ugima wa mwiri kaunti ya Murang'a mariho mbeca iria maceririirio. Ngatho cia mwanya muno makirioro haria ungikorwo wirorire no ni ceceni ya Inoro TV riuci hadite thaa ithatu mathaa motuko na mathaa maria tukumenyithagia maria matina makihanika guothe bururi-ini mutaurito na njira ciiko no angare wa macarĩte Ken Wakura. Commission ya githurano na mihaka yugite Raila Odinga ndari na oira wa kuonania maumirira maria mari fomu-ini ya 34A ne macenjirio. Mawakiri ya commission ino macokereirie igoti-ini kana macoreire igoti bisha ya mitambo ya IEBC yagitirwo gutigirira ne ateithireirie githurano gutafana na njira iri na kana na iri no theri na yarumirire watho. Na tauria gathoni wa jehi aratariria IEBC ne taririo ria fomu iria ciarehagwo kuma ceceni-ini cia gwikiria kura chaitokagirio moko-ini ma ataramu a mitambo ya commission ino mari hamwe na maagent ahuraniri agituro ya president.
IEBC ikinyite mbere ya acirithania mugwanja a igoti itugiru gutetera mitambo yayo iria yahuthirirwo gutafania githurano na iria athitangani magwetete ta igecariria ria tumire maimirira ma githurano kia mweri muhituku mage gwitikirika ni mwaho umwe. Kumana na bata wa maimirira maria mandikitwo fomu-ini 34A, IEBC niyonanitie gikiro kia ugitiri uria fomu ici ihetwo kuma ire ceceni-ini ya wikia wa kura igitumwo na mitambo na riria iratwarwo ceceni-ini nene ya gutara kura ni maabitha aria marugamirire githurano.
Each of the forms that get there are serialized, and the serialization is tied to the polling station. It is tied to the date, to the time, up to the second when that form was received. It then, as an additional property, gives you a tab to be able to confirm or verify whether there's been any alteration on the form from the time it was transmitted.
Mawakiri IEBC mateteire mitambo ya commission ino kumana na thitango cia Raila Odinga ciate kwari na andu mahingagiriria form 34A itanakinya Bomas makiuga mahitia ta maya mangiahanikire mangiamenyekaga na uhuthu ni undu wa signature ya kiriu iria form ici cikoragwo nayo na iria ingiteithiriria kuonania form ni yacererwo gukinya Bomas kuringana na mathaa maria etumitwo.
So as it is transmitted, it is not in the form of what we would imagine the image of form 34A. If I was to use an example, if it was to be a water pipe and it is to be encrypted, it means if you broke into that water pipe, because we all know that the chemical formula of water is H2O, you'll get your hydrogen on one side, you'll get your oxygen on one side. It then means you'd not be able to make sense of that water that you're looking for.
Wakiri wa IEBC Eric Gumbo ateanirie mihitwa ya John Githongo uria uranyita mbaru cira wa Raila Odinga uria aheanite muhiano wa form 34A yacenjirio kuma Tiaty kaunti-ini ya Baringo na akihũthĩra mwĩhĩtwa wa mũrũgamĩrĩri wa mĩtambo ya IEBC Michael Uma, Gumbo erĩte igoti ũira ũcio nĩ wa maheni.
In fact, the form that was uploaded or that was attached in the affidavit of John Mark Gidongo is not a form that arose from the process that that they allude or allege it arose from. That according to him, this form was downloaded. Somebody tried to interfere with the details on it and attached it to an affidavit. Now that, if you asked me, is perhaps the silliest way of doing any of these things, because if somebody asked you whether that form was authentic, you only need to look at the public portal. You then need to verify it with the form 34A that was presented. My ladies and my lords, as a statutory requirement, we delivered all the form 34As to this court. We have a copy. The entire public has copies of each and every of those documents. Our team went through those documents, and in relation to that specific form 34A, to say the least, it's a forgery.
IEBC oho ihithũrĩtie atĩ ũira ũmwe ũrĩa ũtemanĩtio igoti-inĩ nĩ athitangani umanĩte na gĩthurano kĩa mwaka wa 2017, ũndũ ũrĩa matambũrĩte kumana na gũcenjio kwa rekondi cia IEBC gĩthurano-inĩ kĩa mwaka ũyũ.
If you look at the manner in which those forms, those logs are structured, they serialized. In 2017, the IEBC serialized its logs using the names of the constituencies. In that particular log, you'll find a name Changamwe. This time round, they did not use the names of the constituencies. They used the serial numbers. So that is a first inconsistency. Looking at those logs again, you see the name of one Asenge running an IEBC email account. Asenge was one of the returning officers of the IEBC in Changamwe in 2017. One is then left to wonder, at what point do we get to even forging documents, forging logs, to be able to demonstrate our case?
Mawakiri IEBC maugĩte nĩ maiganĩire na mĩtambo ĩrĩa yahũthĩkire, na riboti ya maumĩrĩra ma gĩthurano gĩkĩ nĩyo ĩtũmĩte magĩe na wĩira mũiganu atĩ nĩ yahũthĩkire gũkinyanĩria watho wa gĩthurano kĩna mana waragania. Ngĩribotera Inooro TV, njĩtagwo Gathoni Wanjihia.
Commission ya ithurano na mĩhaka ĩthing'ĩrĩirie atĩ yatabanirie gĩthurano na ũigĩrĩrĩki na gĩthomo kĩnene kĩrĩa gĩathomirwo cira-inĩ ũrĩa wombanĩire ũruti wĩra wayo gĩthurano-inĩ kĩa njoko kĩa mwaka wa 2017. Cira-inĩ ũrĩa ũratetia ũhotani wa President Mũthure William Ruto, mawakiri a Ruto maugĩte amathitangi nĩ maremetwo nĩ kuonania ũrĩa form 34A yathogirwo. Mwarĩki witũ Julius Karithi wa Mũnene nĩwe na riboti ĩno.
Kiria President Mũthure William Ruto na Commission ya ithurano na mĩhaka meyarĩire kĩharo-inĩ gĩa cira ũrĩa ũratetia ũhotani wa William Ruto na waragania wa Commission ya IEBC harĩ gũtabania gĩthurano gĩa tarĩki 9 mweri wa 8 kĩrĩa rĩu kĩigĩrĩirwo gacũmbĩrĩ-inĩ ka ratiri ya watho. Ũgerera wakiri wa IEBC na mũikarĩri gĩtĩ wayo Wafula Chebukati Githu Muigai, IEBC nĩ yatabanire ithurano irĩ na uma na waragania kũrũmĩrĩra watho amu gĩthomo kĩrĩa mathomire cira-inĩ wa gĩthurano kĩa njoko mwaka wa 2017 marauga gĩtingĩetĩkĩrire macokere mahĩtia marĩa mamĩgomeire.
My lords, you have been urged by several counsel who have spoken before me to find that this election was irretrievably flawed. That from the word go, one counsel said, and I quote, everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Mawakiri aya marauga gũtirĩ wĩira ũronania atĩ form 34A iria ciarĩ ceceni-inĩ cia ũikia wa kura nĩ ngũrani na iria ciarĩ gĩtarũ-inĩ kĩnene gĩa kura Bomas, atĩ amathitangi maratetia mũtaratara wa kwanĩrĩra maumĩrĩra ma Bomas, ĩndĩ ti kĩũria gĩa kana ithabu rĩa kura nĩ rĩaingĩranaga.
I submit that the petitioners have failed to discharge their burden of proof, which is above balance of probabilities, to demonstrate that indeed there was any deficiency or defect in Form 34A or in their transmission, and I adopt the submissions made by my colleagues, especially for IEBC.
Petitioners have not challenged Form 34A in that respect, so that the votes that were cast and tabulated in that respect remain unchallenged. And where they have challenged, we have demonstrated before this court that it is unfounded, it is based on generalization, and it is based on conjecture.
Magitetera hotani wa Ruto, mawakiri yake matongoretio ni Fred Ngatia, moritia mathitangi monanie fomu imwe ya 34A ire taratorana na iria ingi, makiuga mathitangi ni maremetwo gwitamburukia na kuonania wira wa ati ni magithurano kiari githoge.
There is no area in this country that did not participate in that voting. Accordingly, legitimacy, I go to the next point, legitimacy of any electoral victory is predicated on the fact that voting did in fact take place.
Gatioreti gotire twitu arere no fashiriru munene kuona iturete riagiriru no ririkie bururi haceke amu igotire gukoro riumite a Kenya kioto kiao na kurikia bururi mutugo-ini wa ateti kuhanyuka igoti-ini riri o hindi hotani waga kugwa mwena wao.
The solution he offers is that there be an election presided over by the vice chair lady of IEBC. And only one needs to state that to see the crisis that this country will be engaged in. It will be a crisis of monumental nature, a crisis that I do not think that you would want to play with that kind of fire, because it will be fire upon fire.
Kiuria gia kana utari wa kura na wanirira wa maumirira ni wekirwo na njira ya utheri na waragania. IEBC yugete gutiri undu wagararirwo kuona ameba commission ino ni makuruhanirio na atona ma agent ya huraniria giturwa kia president mekiraga wira ikinya gwa ikinya wa kire gia kinyagio ceceni-ini ya utari wa kura hatari ngarari na gukiri uguo makauga mathitangi mafati kwiyuria kiuria gia kana ni mari na ma agent ehokeku handu ha gukuithia igoti na bururi murigo wa kwenda kura itaro ringi.
It is made worse, my ladies and my lords, by the fact that the petitions make grave allegations of a criminal nature: fraud, tampering with election materials and results, conspiracy to unlawfully influence an election outcome, and even implied treason.
For somebody to intercept that system, they must have information in relation to the voter turnout of that day. It may not be practical for somebody to say that they have the capacity to know the voter turnout throughout the country at the second at which they want to intercept a particular form transmitted.
Mawakiri aya marauga ikinya ria gucenjia mithenya ya gutafania ithurano icigo-ini itiganite yari na gitumi wona maratathi ni matukanite na mamenyaga o mathaini ma hwaini na ati ona cabithia maratathi maya ni makinyirwo ni ndeto eno na makiranira gucabithia maratathi mangi hatari thogora wa njoherera.
The verification and tallying happened and was done by the chairperson, commissioners of IEBC and the staff at the National Tallying Center in the presence of the candidates of the agents of the presidential candidates.
Wonini wa wakiri wa IEBC Kamau Karori Chebukati ni agitiretwo ni watho kwanirira maumirira ma githurano ari kana atari hamwe na makomishona ona kana githimi kia wingi wao. Muthenya wa gatano kiumia giki nirio mena yothe irigirirwo kurika nderetini ya gucokaniria IEBC na mwena wa president Muthure makirigirira kuheo anja ciuria iria matemanitie mbere ya igoti riri gukinyagia hwaini wa muthenya wa kana kiumia giki. Girifotera Inoro TV Jitagwo Julius Kareithi wa munene.
President Muthure Ndagĩtarĩ William Ruto arenda igoti itogeru rĩnyitirĩre ũhotani wake tondũ itua rĩa gũcoka gĩthurano-inĩ anyitĩrĩire atĩ ndĩgathingithia a bũrũri na ikĩro itarĩ cionekana. Agĩtetera ũhotani wake, President Muthure anyitĩrĩire ũhotani wake na wahingirie ikĩro ciothe cia watho kũringana na ũira ũrĩa ũtamanĩtio nĩ commission ya ithurano na mĩhaka na cira ũrĩa ang'ethanĩri ake mahandĩte na gũtetia gũthurwo gwake ndũrĩ na mĩthingi ya watho kana uma wa maũndũ ta ũrĩa mahanĩkire. Wairũ Wanyambura nĩ wĩna riboti ĩno.
Komishoni ya ithurano na mihaka ikiingira kiharo gutetera itua ria kwanirira muhotani wa giturwa gia president na president muthure ndagitari William Ruto agitetera uhotani wake. Cira wao tunganire hari kuiguithia igoti tugiru atirirerwo riteaniria moimerera na itumi citari na mithiki ya watho na kungi wira wa maheni uria wahuthirirwo cira-ini wa gutetia moimerera ma giturwa o giki mwaka-ini wa 2017.
We have our rows at the polling station. They had agents. You had agents at the CTC. We have the original. You have agents at the NTC. We have original. We have what is transmitted in the portal. We have original. All of them tally, and you are saying your client's votes were deducted. How?
That the burden of proof in election petitions lies on the person who seeks judicial invalidation of the election, not on the respondents.
There are no less than 3 governors addressing you elected under this election. There are no less than 4 senators elected under this election. And there are no less than 4 members of parliament elected under this election. Are they happy with their own election? If they are, how then is it that this election is irredeemably flawed?
Igicokia kiuria kiria gicuhiriire githurano giki giaka na muhotani ni amukirire makiria ma nuthu ya kura iria ciaikirio. IEBC inyitirire ati ang'ethaniri a itua riayo mareka mathabu uria gutagirire na nikio mataraingirana. Kuringana na IEBC, ceceni cia guikiria kura ciari 46,229 na aikia a kura othe maturanĩirwo hamwe marĩ 1,220,458 na o ceceni yarĩ na macini yayo ya gũtambũra aikia a kura. Muthenya wa githurano macini 45,994 nicio ciarutire wira na cikihotithia andu 14,239,862 guikia kura. Kuria citahuthikire, register ya ibuku niyo yahundukiirwo na andu 89,889 magithurana na njira ino ceceni-ini 229. Ceceni 6 citiathuranire tondu wa kugumirwo ni ngui. Uguo ni kuga ati muthia-ini andu 1,326,751 ni mathuranire na kura cia andu 13,618 cigithuka. Na tondu kuringana na IEBC kurora kana muhotani ni amukirite makiria ma nuthu ya kura iria cikitio, no nginya iria ciathukire ciambe cirutwo. William Ruto na makiria ma kura 7,100,000 ni ahingitie ikero cia kwanirirwo ta muhotani na kuneo certificate kuringana na watho.
So to 50+1, the court made its determination in 2013 on the votes cast and valid votes and the rejected ballot. Rejected are not votes. Votes is an authentication of preference. There's nothing called rejected votes. That's a rejected ballot. The court emphatically made that decision in 2013 and in 2017. To the petitioner's answer as to that, I think the simple answer will be, get over it.
Makihundukira komishona na aregani, President Muthure na IEBC manyitirire ati he undu utaraumukanirio igoti tondu gutire hindi andu maingirire ofici-ini muthia-ini wa mwaka muthiru makuukirwo ati mubango mugima wa githurano wari na gatithio ndagika 30 mbere ya muhotani wa giturwa gia president anirirwo.
What the commissioners actually wanted to do was what was stated in the affidavits of the chairman, the Professor Gulier and Mr. Molu, which was to moderate the results so that a pre-agreed or pre-arranged result can be declared.
Everybody is on board. The public can see them declaring the results. What is this that happens within the half hour? There is a concerted effort, external, to ensure that the process comes to an end without a declaration.
IEBC yugite ati ni guthirima bururi mutino angikorwo igoti ni rigwitikiria moimerera ma githurano makambaga kwariririo ni commissioner ayo mbere ya maniriirwo na itua ria commissioner aria ingĩ rigakindirwo. Ta githurano-ini giki IEBC yugite ati itua ria commissioner aria ingĩ rirarongoreirio kugarura itua ria Akenya makiria ma milioni 700,100.
The suggestion that we should have a plenary conversation about the result would one that would cause huge ramifications to this country, because what would happen if after the elections have been conducted and completed, commissioners for whatever reason take different positions and decide that they are not agreed on the declaration to be made, and that a declaration cannot be made until they all agreed. If that was what was intended by the Constitution, nothing would have been easier for Article 138(10) to have made reference to members of the Commission.
An interpretation in the opposite direction would lead to a constitutional crisis where commissioners who think they have a role to veto and moderate the expression of the will of the people of Kenya in the vote can decide to form factions and have their own candidates, declare their own results, which they have verified in quote and tallied in quotes.
IEBC itikirite ati githurano gitiari kirungaro igana kwa igana, no mathenya makio ti maiganu gucenjia moimirira. No na kuri oguo commission ino nyitirire ati aria maratetia moimirira maya matire na uira wina muthingi tondu matiare na agents ceceni-ini cia guikiria kura kuria moimirira ma mwisho moimaga na kuria uira wa kwagarara mawatho ma ithurano ungiuma.
There is nothing wrong with IEBC. There is nothing wrong with Wafula Chebukati. There is something very wrong. There is something very wrong in the way the persons who participate in the electoral process accept winning or losing. That's the problem.
We are asking you to give us back our country. Determine that there were no infringements, that we had a proper election. We have been in election mode for so long. The only thing that creates wealth is actually working. And this is not work.
IEBC President Muthure William Ruto na munini wake Rigathi Gachagua merite igoti ati muthia-ini riaga gukindira moimirira ma giturwa gia president toria maniriirwo rikarikia bururi irima-ini kwiruta kugakorwo kuri undu muritu tondu ang'ethaniri ao matigetikira gucoka githurano-ini mogaruruku commission-ini ya githurano matekitwo undu uria utangikinyanirio na thiku 60 cia githurano kia njoko. Girifotera Inoro TV Jitagwo Waweru Wanyabura.
Maabitha a igoti aria marehokeirio wira wa gutara ringi kura cia ceceni 41 ni marikitie makiregererwo gutamania riboti ya mbere ya igoti muthenya wa gatano. Maabitha aya maugite thengia kurora wagiriru wa mathanduku makura no mararoga kana form 34A cia mathanduku-ini maya na kuoya mawoni ma agents a huraniri ya giturwa gia president. Masewadi ya Murithini we ni riboti ino.
Thutha wa igoti kwathana mathanduku ma wikia wa kura kuma ceceni 41 mataro, utari uyu ni urikite na riboti kathagathago na riu kiregetereirwo ni riboti ino kubeanwo igoti-ini.
Not to be part of making that report.
Musirithania munene Martha Koome ugite bindi ya giikaro kia igoti muthenya wa gatano maubithaya makabeo ibinda ria kuthathaura riboti yao na kube agents ma aburaniri ma giturwa gia president mweke wa kubeana mawoni mao megie riboti iyo.
Thereafter we will give the parties who are participating in the scrutiny, that is the first petitioner, I think youth advocacy, KERIF, then IEBC, and the first respondents to comment on the report on scrutiny.
Nyondo wa kubanyukia mutaratara uyu mwandikithia wa masira maigoti itugiru uria niwe urugamirire mibango eno ugite marambire kwegayania timu igire niguo kubanyukia mutaratara uyu.
In total we have received 41 ballot boxes and we opened all of them and got the form that we had wanted from the particular boxes, and the data was recorded.
Maugite ni maronire maundu maria marabataraga kumenya mathanduku-ini maya na thutha wa kumabetukira marakinyaniria gikiro gia kwandikiro riboti.
So we will be giving a report in terms of every material that we found inside the boxes that we looked at.
We did this process together. We did our observations. We considered your comments, and we're going to make our findings in the report writing, and then the court will rule. It's only the court which will make a decision after considering what we are going to put in the report.
Magitariria maundu ma mwanya maria marabangaga kuroro munini wa mwandikithia wa masira igoti-ini itugiru Elizabeth Tanui ugite undu wa mbere ni kurora kiria kiri thiini wa ithanduku riu, kurora kana bomu 34A iri kuo na namba ya ithanduku. Ngiribotera Inoro TV, Jetago Masi, Wadia wa Muriithi.
Agiteo reke ngwihoe twambe tumuke hanini tugicokereria turore mangi.
Manze ukipata chance kutesa tesa, life ni short, maisha uisa man. Wewe mi utesa nikipata chance.
Okay. Nini hebu nione. Ziko kwa masikio.
Wewe akangu sangwi. Kalo sona njipanya tunjui ni uswali kalo. Kalo andi simpende isula ama maumbile ama walepa. Nipile tu amenimbitile mala 63 tu.
To watch this story and more, download the Citizen Digital app today.
Kenya's #1 app, Citizen Digital.